Intellectual disability. This is the lowest measurable range of human intelligence, an IQ below 70. It represents about 2% of the population. At this level, learning is slow and abstract reasoning is limited. Tasks that most people find automatic, like reading a bus schedule, understanding money, or following multi-step instructions, can require direct teaching and repetition. Many people in this range can still learn to read, write, and work basic jobs, but they need structure and support to live independently. Common causes include genetic conditions such as Down syndrome, prenatal damage, or oxygen loss at birth. But not every case is medical. Sometimes, extreme neglect or lack of access to education during development can produce similar effects. Intellectual disability isn't just about a number, it measures how much support a person needs to function in everyday life, from mild supervision to full-time care. What matters most is how effectively they adapt, not how high the score reads on paper. Below average intelligence. This range includes people with IQ scores between 70 and 84, about 13% of the population, sometimes called the borderline range. People in this group usually understand daily life tasks, but may struggle with complex reasoning, abstract ideas, or long-term planning. For example, they might follow step-by-step instructions easily, but find it hard to solve unfamiliar problems or detect patterns in new information. In school, these individuals often need more time to learn reading comprehension, math concepts, or scientific reasoning. However, with the right environment and repetition, they can perform most routine jobs and live independently. Cognitive testing shows that their brains process information more sequentially than conceptually, meaning they tend to focus on one detail at a time instead of forming big-picture connections. This affects memory retention and problem-solving speed, not intelligence in the emotional or creative sense. Many people in this range adapt extremely well in the real world. They thrive in hands-on environments, construction, mechanics, or customer service, where practical skill matters more than theory. In short, they can succeed with structure, repetition, and a clear system to follow. Average intelligence. This is the middle of the curve, the range where most of humanity falls. An IQ between 85 and 115 covers about 68% of the population. People here process information efficiently, but not exceptionally. They can reason through everyday problems, learn new concepts with normal effort, and communicate ideas clearly. This is the level where schools, workplaces, and society are built to operate, because the average mind defines what's typical learning speed and comprehension. Average intelligence allows someone to recognize patterns, plan short-term goals, and adjust to change. They can handle abstract thinking, like comparing two philosophies or understanding probability, but usually through learned methods rather than innate intuition. Within this range, differences still exist. An IQ of 90 might represent someone who learns through repetition and examples, while 110 might indicate quicker pattern recognition and stronger verbal memory. But both function comfortably in modern life. At this level, discipline and curiosity often matter more than raw intelligence. Two people with the same IQ can achieve wildly different outcomes, depending on how they use their time, focus, and environment. Above average intelligence. Above average intelligence falls between 115 and 129, representing about 14% of the population. People in this range learn faster, recall information more accurately, and solve problems with fewer examples. Their thought process is often analytical and pattern-based. They don't just memorize facts, they understand how those facts connect. In conversation, they tend to grasp nuance, irony, and cause and effect relationships quickly. Academically, this group often performs well without needing extra help or pressure. They can read complex material once and retain the core idea. In professional life, they handle roles that require strategy, prediction, or multi-step reasoning, like engineering, finance, design, or programming. Brain imaging studies show that higher IQ individuals tend to have more efficient neural connectivity, especially between the frontal and parietal lobes, regions linked to planning, logic, and working memory. This means they can hold and manipulate more information at once while making decisions. Above average doesn't mean genius, it means the brain runs on a higher processing bandwidth. It's more about clarity and speed than raw creativity. Most high-performing students and professionals fall here, skilled, adaptable, and capable of mastering complexity with practice. Gifted. The gifted range includes IQ scores between 130 and 144, covering roughly 2% of the population. Gifted individuals think in systems, not steps. Their brains link ideas at high speed, allowing them to process patterns, relationships, and outcomes almost instantly. They often grasp abstract or theoretical concepts long before they're formally taught, such as seeing mathematical symmetry, understanding symbolism in literature, or predicting outcomes in scientific problems. This level of intelligence is marked by intense curiosity and an almost automatic ability to spot inefficiencies or inconsistencies. A gifted mind doesn't just learn information, it questions how the information itself works. In children, signs of giftedness appear early. Advanced vocabulary, strong memory, and unusual focus on specific interests. In adults, it translates to rapid learning, strong problem solving, and an ability to switch between detail and big picture thinking with ease. However, gifted individuals often experience asynchronous development. Their intellectual growth outpaces emotional or social development, sometimes leading to frustration or isolation. The brain that runs faster can also overanalyze, which makes stress and perfectionism more common in this group. Exceptionally gifted. Exceptionally gifted individuals score between 145 and 159, representing about 0.1% of the population, roughly 1 in 1,000 people. At this level, the mind operates at extreme efficiency. Information is absorbed, stored, and retrieved almost instantly. Thinking becomes multi-layered, with several ideas or variables processed at once. Where most people see linear steps, exceptionally gifted individuals see entire structures of logic, like reading the blueprint of a problem rather than its surface. This level is associated with the ability to innovate, theorize, or invent, rather than just understand. Many recognize scientific and artistic breakthroughs come from minds in this range because they can connect distant fields of knowledge into unified systems. Emotionally, however, this level can bring detachment or disconnection. The gap between their mental speed and others' comprehension can cause frustration or social withdrawal. The challenge is no longer learning information, it's finding intellectual peers or complex enough problems to stay engaged. In testing, this level corresponds to advanced reasoning far beyond grade level, exceptional verbal and mathematical fluency, and a near photographic recall of structured information. Profoundly gifted. The profoundly gifted range begins at an IQ of 160 and above, accounting for less than 0.01% of the population, fewer than 1 in 10,000 people. At this level, the brain's processing speed, memory, and reasoning ability operate far beyond the typical human range. These individuals can mentally visualize complex systems, solve multivariable problems without formal methods, and absorb new information with minimal exposure. They don't just learn quickly, they restructure how information fits together. Historically, this range includes figures like Albert Einstein, Leonardo da Vinci, and Isaac Newton, people who redefined entire scientific or creative frameworks. Their cognition allows them to notice patterns and principles that others don't even perceive exist. Profoundly gifted minds often exhibit metacognition, awareness of their own thinking process. They can analyze how they think in real time, improving efficiency on the spot. However, this same trait can make social interaction difficult because their communication style may seem abstract or detached from common reference points. Even with immense ability, profoundly gifted individuals still rely on environment. Without stimulation, challenge, or collaboration, their talent can stagnate or fragment. Intelligence alone doesn't guarantee success. It simply provides an expanded cognitive landscape to explore. Every brain's a mystery. Subscribe and start unlocking yours.